Hello and welcome to Wellbeing in Action. And today with yet a different show, and we are going to have our first guest to our show. And we'll be talking about well-being and travel. And of course, Steve is here as well.
Hi. Hello to any of the English language students who will be watching this as well. Today I'd like you to focus on the use of the present perfect against past tenses. And if you remember, in the present perfect, we need to have the subject, the object, and the time all still in existence in order to use this. If any of those are stopped being in existence, then we're going to go to the simple past. So pay attention and see if you know that when we naturally use have been compared to was or gone. Okay?
Very good. Yes. And here we've got Juliana and Eduardo. Welcome to our podcast.
Hello. Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation and for being here. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And I want to say a very special thank you, because to let people know that these guys are the ones responsible for the success of our kids at the moment, both James and Julia.
I thought I was responsible for that.
Well, up until a point, now we've handed them over to you. So who we can explain is that these guys run and own Option Language Solutions here in Piracicaba, and our son James is working with you guys as an English language teacher. And Julia, of course, you invited her in to operate and run your Wanderlust Cafe for you. How's that been going?
Yes.
That has been a ride. Yeah. Well, but it's our pleasure to have them. Actually, it's been going great. Yes.
Yeah, they are still there because they've been doing the right job.
Do you know, I always used to say that as long as they invite me back tomorrow, I know I've been doing a good job. So
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah. James is doing great as a teacher, and also Julia running the cafe is doing a very good job. Wanderlust has become really popular in Piracicaba. Yes. And
It's actually become one of the best cafes in the city when you look on the reviews and things on Google.
exactly. And
It's
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
becoming very popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
very
for sure.
popular, and whoever hasn't been there yet should go.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, how long have you guys known each other? How did you meet? How long have you been running the school? And how's that been?
Okay, so I'll start with, of course, my name. My name is Eduardo, José Eduardo. I'm not from Piracicaba exactly. I'm from Catanduva, but I've been living here for more than 30 years, I think. So I consider myself a Piracicaban for sure.
Same for me.
The same for her, yeah. And we've been running the school since 2003, so it's been 20 years now. And it's something very that we love doing what we do. And now we have a lot of teachers, and we have it's a great success with all the teachers there. Everybody enjoy being our student, and and I love it. I just love it.
And how did you start?
Yeah, teaching actually has been a big part of our life in general. You asked us, Steve, how we met. So we met being teachers for a different language school a long time ago. Yeah, so we were very young when we started. We started teaching very young, and then we met in a different school, and we decided to open Option. Actually, we had just started our relationship, and we decided to open Option as an option because we wanted a place where people where we could do what we considered was good language teaching, and we wanted people to have that option to go to a place that we considered would be different. We wanted something different.
In our previous podcast, I talked about authenticity, and when you're being authentic to yourself, sometimes when you are employed, you have to be true to what the employer is telling you.
Exactly,
And so how did it feel to have that freedom and now just be authentic to yourself and be able to step out and do do exactly what you felt was right?
Yeah, this is something that we've been doing since we started, and we pass it to our teachers as well. So they also have the chance to be authentic there, you know.
Yeah.
So this is something that we've been doing, and we are going to continue doing that.
Good.
Maybe in that time in the past we didn't have that. The schools were more like, you know, squared, I would say. And then we kind of like started this 20 years ago in a way that people start enjoying it, and here we are now.
Yeah, I like to say about usually when people look for us and want to start studying at Option, they ask us, "What's your methodology?"
Yes.
And then so this is my sentence. I say we don't have methodology. We have good teachers, and we trust them because each one of our teachers they are different, and of course we have things in common that we have to work as a team, but each one has their own special way of teaching. So I think that's what's worked for us
Yes.
for these past 20 years.
When I talk about well-being in companies, and it always, the main thing comes down to what is the culture. So what's the mission, what's the vision, and what is the value? And when that is clear within the I think when it is very clear within the owners or with the people that are running it, that becomes easier. So the values are there, and definitely that is something that you continue doing, isn't it? And your vision, you probably change from time to time depending where this school is going. It's been running for 20 years, so you
Yes.
definitely have changes that,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For
that
sure.
occurred, and languages as well, because you don't teach just English,
Yeah.
so you've got different languages and market changes and everything else that happen.
So in
So
these
that's
20
good.
years, what have been the major changes and shifts that you've seen, and what have been your, obviously you have been successful because you're here, so what has been those stepping stones, milestones that have made your success?
That's a hard question.
Yeah. I think it was when when we had one of the milestones that I remember. Maybe you can tell me better, when we had the first kid.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
yeah.
That's something that shifted completely our way of work, because we started off just the two of us, and for a long time it was just the two of us, and it was comfortable that way. And then when I got pregnant, I was obligated to take a step back, because of course, you know, being a mom and a new mom, it's hard, and all the responsibilities that come and all the new things that you're doing and you're learning. So that was when Eduardo was obligated to find other people to work with us.
Yeah.
And I give him that credit, because that was on him. He had to, you know, and find people who have our style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which is
vision.
nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
which
vision.
is
Share
even
your
more
vision.
difficult, you know. That was one, a big one. That's when Option changed completely, because
Yeah.
you were.
Yeah, I had the idea, of course, of having other people working with us, you know, and then I always say working with us, because that's what they do. They work with us, not
Yes.
only for us. And then when we had this, I started having these nice teachers with us, and then more people came, and more other teachers also came, and it was kind of natural, actually. It wasn't very, like planned. It was natural, and everybody was coming.
Yeah, it was necessary at
And
first,
necessary,
because
yeah.
I had a lot of students that needed someone to fill in.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to do it on his own.
Yeah.
And then so new teachers came, and it started to grow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So has it been an evolution rather than a step-by-step process?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's more like an evolution. Yeah. Another thing that has been changing a lot nowadays, well, not really nowadays, but maybe from like 5 years from now, is that a lot of more people have been looking for Spanish classes.
Okay.
Spanish language has been growing a lot, and people are looking for it. So, and we do have Spanish classes as well. So yeah, I mean, this is something interesting. I think everybody in Brazil should speak Spanish. I think so. We should
The rest of the world already thinks everything.
Exactly.
We don't, but we should.
Yeah.
I justified that for 20 years. I didn't speak Spanish.
Yes, there you go. You see.
Another thing that really changed the everything, I guess, was the pandemic, because of, you know, like the way that online classes became very big.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was very
Yeah.
big for us as well. We thankfully we were not affected too much by the pandemic. Actually, we grew a lot in that process.
Because we were already online before the pandemic, and when the pandemic hit, we just
it
moved
was
everybody
just,
online. And then nowadays we have classes all over Brazil, outside of Brazil, so people are everywhere now.
This
That was
has
good.
become a big question in HR right across the world, because the new ways of working, working from home and having a home office has become a normal. And it's that new way of staying open, staying fresh, and being able to stay authentic to yourself,
Yeah.
where you can actually survive. Because actually, if you're being authentic to yourself, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, does it?
No, not
Yeah.
really. And our way of working, I think the teachers, they can be home if they want to, and it's really okay, because we know what they're doing. They're doing the same as if they're home or if they're at school, you know. And I sometimes say like, no, yeah, of course you can go home now, and if there's like a gap between the classes, they can go home and finish classes at home. And I think they get very happy with that. So they really enjoy it. And another well-being.
Yes.
You know.
It is the flexibility, and
Yeah.
this is actually one of the things that we were just having a little conversation before we start, that it's an ability that it's needed for the next few years is to provide flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that flexibility is that cognitively, so it's being flexible but being intelligent about it, and adapting to the environment while providing solutions.
Yes.
So that's where the flexibility is coming.
Yes.
And
I think we're quite very flexible in this sense. Yeah. I mean, I think the teachers understand what they have to do when they're at home, and they like it.
well.
The students.
It helped
Yeah.
the students a lot.
well, you've offered more than this flexibility. I was going to bring in all the other things
Well,
that
I
Eduardo
was just
is doing.
going to say, if people are listening and they're loving what you're saying, and I'm sure they will, where how can they find you? Where are they going to find the school?
Yeah, okay. So we are, our address is in Bairro Alto, Rua Bernardino de Campos, 896, Bairro Alto. And they can find us there, and or on Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Okay.
Option Language Solutions, Instagram, and from wherever you are.
And
Yeah.
and the Google searches will be option Piracicaba.
Google search will be Option Language Solutions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, in Piracicaba. Yes, exactly.
Fantastic.
yeah.
Well, today we're talking with Juliana and Eduardo from Option Language Solutions here, and we're looking at our experiences and how they bring us some well-being and happiness. And we're going to specifically now start looking at travel. And traveling, first of all, in three ways. We're going to look at traveling by ourselves individually, traveling with family, and traveling to broaden our education and experience of the world on this one. So looking at traveling individually, Eduardo, I know that you have your own YouTube site about this. Would you like to tell us about this? How long have you been running this?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel that's called The Travel Bug Feeling. And I've been doing that since the pandemic started.
It's a
Again.
brilliant way to go
Was it
out
actually
and
one
to
of
do
your-
things.
was it a reaction to the pandemic? You just thought, I'm getting out there.
Yes, it was a reaction. It was I bought a motorcycle. I bought a Vespa first, and then I started riding my Vespa, and I put a camera here and go around and talk in English. And after I bought another motorcycle, so I could, travel far. And yes, I think it was a reaction for like going around and not staying only in my home after, like, of course, when the pandemic was almost in the end, I would say. And also a way to start making videos in English for people to try to understand. I'm going to say this because when I was an English student, it was very difficult for me to find sources or resources in English other than just a class or a tape. You remember that?
Yes.
Or when someone came from other countries and brought like these video cassette recorders in English without subtitles.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I was always craving to find these things so I could practice and hear and listen to people speaking. And then having this channel is something that I'm doing what I would like to have had it when I was at that period, trying to find something. It's about it's about traveling, it's about motorcycle, and everything's in English. I put some vocabularies there, so it's something that came with the pandemic, but also something that probably was inside of me.
What sort of places have you been to?
With the motorcycle, the furthest I went was Buenos Aires, or near Buenos Aires, La Plata, because we have this Spanish teacher who lives there, and then I went there to have a meeting with him instead of like having a Zoom meeting. I just like to have like.
It was a good excuse.
Yeah, okay.
I need to have a meeting with our teacher in Argentina.
Face to face, not online.
That's what I need.
It has to
But
be.
you did expanded it, and I've seen just the recent ones that you went and traveling with the family, and you also did the videos, and the girls are there as well. So your two daughters are part of it.
Yes.
And how is that experience now in this well-being of travel?
The well-being of like we went to Norway, to Italy, and with the kids, and it was very nice. Also, the videos is a way for them to recall, to remember when they are older, and also a way to force them to speak the language and hearing us speaking the language. So
it's giving them those authentic situations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than creative, artificial,
Exactly.
intelligent ones.
Exactly. And and then in Norway we had to speak English all the time because we didn't have any Brazilians with us. And then in Italy we spoke a lot of Italian, but also English sometimes. And it's I do videos not with the motorcycle as well, with other kind of trips.
It's becoming interesting for them also to
part.
participate.
Yeah.
So
When you're on the motorbike, of course, motorbike riding can be a very solo event, and especially when you got a helmet on and it's more reduced. And actually, sometimes you're driving and all you're left with are your own thoughts. What are the type of things that you think about? Do you plan the things that you're going to say before you go and then say them, or have you got a thought process as you go along?
No, there are two situations here. The first one is to make the videos. I kind of research where I'm going, and then I give them I put in the video right information of the places I've been, and I learn a lot about that. I learn a lot with that, a lot. And the second situation is like when I am with my helmet, I think about my life, I think about my family, I think about my work. And for me, this is not exactly, but this for me is my way of going to the psychologist,
Yes.
It's the way of like me
Finding yourself.
finding myself, being well, and this is my therapy.
Yeah.
This is really, I get really...
when he is alone, because when I'm with him, then we have the intercom. And then I talk all the time.
But then it's another way to bring
It is.
that other interaction, because we talk a lot as a couple, and we did, like you having a business, we did a lot of things and had a business together as well. And it's very nice because it's often when it's just the both of us, just the two of us together, that there is that authenticity that
yes.
we've been talking about.
It is actually curious because it is opportunity for us to really talk when we're on the motorbike, and if we are going to a faraway place, because nowadays we've been really busy.
Yeah.
And I often joke with Eduardo that we have to set meetings so we can have a proper conversation.
Yes,
Like,
we know about that.
Yes, we're gonna have a conversation today at 4. Okay, yes, at 4. Yes. So on the motorbike, it's a good way for us to talk. Yes, we can.
This is actually something that I was going to bring about the balance that you find in all of that, and beforehand we used to bring the idea of that life has to be balanced. Now we're looking, and when I say we, as in the research is leading us to believe that it's having the realization and having a fulfilled lifetime, and having a business where you share responsibilities, having a house where you share responsibilities, having the children still quite young, takes a lot of your time. So I know you are setting times and meeting, but do you feel that you've got this balance right, or is that something that after just being away for quite a few weeks or months on your own or as a family, did you learn anything else from it? So how is that balance working for you guys now?
I think throughout the years we have managed to balance this really well. We in the beginning, I remember like having much more like of any kind of like not discussions, but heated ones. But I think after a time we understand how like each one functions works well, better than, in this way I work better than this way, and okay, I understand, so you do this way, I do this way. And then I think we went to separate ways at the same time together, and I think this was the nicest part. It's not an easy question, but
I think balance has a lot to do with growth as well. Nowadays I consider ourselves much more balanced than we were in the past, but in the sense that we learned how to be. We learned how to do things.
We know which roles we have. I think that's how we manage to be well with each other. It's like, I know my role is this, her role is this. Yes. Sometimes we have to do it together, sometimes separated. I think that's how we work inside that.
For us, it was a lot about trust. That when some person is saying something, you're not imposing. You're actually saying, I like it like this. Let's do this. Let's go there. Well, actually, and it's trusting that. Okay, let's see what we can do with this, because when you trust, you can let go. It's like like a parachute jump, which I've never done. But what you do is when you jump, you trust in the canopy, and so if you let go, as in, you're not worried about what the canopy is, you let go, you can actually enjoy the experience of the jump, other than you're just tense. Okay. And when you hit the ground, you're going to break.
Yes. And with trust, I say that respect is understanding, but not always agreeing. And Steve and I are very happy to be at a place where we understand where we're coming from, but not always agree. And it is more challenging when you have to have agreed upon maybe facts or things that to move along in the school. And this is where the trust comes. Well, I really don't agree with that, but you know what? I trust that you're going to make a good decision. And this is where you're saying, well, sometimes when you had your first child, I trusted you to go out and find a way. And this is where we still do a lot in our relationship.
Yes, this process for me was a bit more difficult, but not because of lack of trust that I trusted Eduardo, but to be able to let go and trust the people who were coming.
Yes. Oh my
because
goodness.
it was my school, Yes, it's ours. And then my students, you know, and people are going to be taking over my place. So
We've been working together in education for similar times in different circumstances. And when you set up systems, it can still be in a secondary school, but you set up a system, but now you got to trust and allow those people to actually grow within the system.
Yes.
Because it's also this thing of, I know I'm letting you go, but I still want to see the results.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a principle here, run with it, do what you wish, but I still want to see
Exactly.
the
And that's actually the way to look at not being alone at the top. It's when you have a system that works, and like you said, you welcome people into your school, because now it's knitted so well within the culture, and it is not necessarily you that sustain this anymore. It's the other teachers that value, that know, that will even continue introducing and carrying those values
Exactly.
along with the other teachers. So and to make that happen, in fact, that's something that I passionately like to work with other companies, because this is it. When you understand that and you have it and you make it happen,
It's
That's
a
beautiful.
process, and
It
it's
is a process,
Yes,
yes.
it's yeah.
I think
not easy.
for the school, it's more important sometimes, not just the technical part, but like I tend to hire the teachers because of their character or their way of seeing the things, and not just because of the technical part. Because the technical we can teach, right? I mean, like
Yes.
the other
Yeah.
part. No,
it's not necessarily, it's the personal and the professional.
Yeah.
The professional
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
train.
Yeah.
The personal is just, and it is such a personable job to be in
And
front
it
of
is
another.
very curious, because we often receive people who for interviews, and it's very curious how this works. You know, it comes to a point where you start to attract those people who are similar, you know, and not only teachers, I would say, and students as well,
Yeah.
which is really curious.
Well, and listen, see what happens with us. Here we are.
okay.
That was
yeah.
definitely an attraction. We
Yes.
got there such by such
Right.
steady.
chance. And
Car keys are not coming out onto the table, Danny. Calm down.
it wasn't that sort of attraction.
Anyway, we're here today talking with Juliana and Eduardo from Option Language Solutions here in Piracicaba, and we're talking about experiences with travel, and how that helps with our well-being and promotes and actually makes us better people. And we're talking about as well. You mentioned now traveling with your kids, so families grow, and yours has grown.
Yes.
And where are the places that you've been with them? Where have you taken them? And what has been the growth that they've got from this?
Yes, we often discuss this, you know, as a couple, like how privileged we are to be able to do this for them. And I have noticed a great difference in our kids in general, with the fact of traveling and being able to meet different people and see different cultures, and so they've become much more tolerant, I would say, to the difference that there is in people in general, you know. Another
Can you
thing,
give a specific example of that?
of course, yes. For example, Norway. We've recently have been to Norway, and it is extremely different from what we know as a culture, and from here in Brazil, you know. So they were able to have experiences like inside a Norwegian family, and see how, for example, how these people treat each other, what it's like to have dinner in a Norwegian family, what's different from ours,
Different
and
food.
different.
Yes.
And for example, being in this case was a very like the countryside of Norway, so not too many things to do. So these people appreciate a lot time together and being around the fire, and so it's just, it opens up so many things for them, you know.
Yeah, one thing that I think it's nice is our kids in the case is they are adapted. They adapt themselves really fast
Yes.
wherever we are, and I think this is very important. Like we go to a place and then it's okay. Let's sleep here. Let's sleep there. They don't have any problems with this thing.
Yes,
So this
they-
is one of the things that we
Yeah.
we can see
Yeah.
Yes.
that it's good for them.
Yes,
you know.
definitely.
And,
We-
and of
we
course
have-
the food also.
We have trained them.
We have trained them.
We have
We-
trained them to endure long hours of travel,
Yeah.
long hours in the car.
I like
and-
traveling by car, so
Yes.
I don't. If it's like 12 hours, if it's 20 hours, doesn't matter. We go by car sometimes, and
And they are up for
What's
it.
been one of your favorite cars that you've traveled in?
favorite what?
Car.
Car?
Yeah.
My favorite car that I traveled in.
Yeah.
You're talking to a car fanatic, so
Oh,
Well, the thing is as well, because
So
I'll
he's
tell you
thinking about
where
it.
I'm going with this. Jeremy Clarkson from the British TV show Top Gear, famous across the world, across YouTube with clips and things, and now on Amazon with the Grand Tour. He famously writes that all machines have a soul, a personality, and therefore there's something that we do and we imbibe a personality into the machine. It's not just functional, so it gives something back. And there's 4 of you traveling, and I would like to think there's actually 5, because the 5th member of the team is the actual car itself.
You're totally right.
yeah.
We have names for them. you know.
Yes, our cars have names.
So the last
Yes.
one. So about your question, the last one was an HRV from Honda,
Okay.
and
In Norway.
that was in Brazil.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Yeah, in Brazil, and we had this car, and
The girl's name.
the number plate started with GEZ, and the girls decided to name him Gazão, Gus.
Yes.
And then after was Gazão because it was a big
Yeah.
car anyway. And then we traveled a lot, like 12 hours, and one thing that I want to say is that we also travel a lot in Brazil, so we want to show them Brazil
yes.
as well, because it's important for them. I had this with my father when we were kids. We traveled a lot by car around Brazil, and I probably want to do the same with my daughters. And
Well, if it's an experience that you've enjoyed, you would have liked to
Yeah.
do that. So that's the good thing.
Yeah.
Hearing you saying is just interesting because I can keep my Brazilian mind, but also the European, actually the English mind. And our children were naturally exposed to such different culture growing. Our best friends, and just to name, there are 5 of them, and each of them have their own nationality, different nationalities, and they will serve their food and they will speak their own language at home. And
Well,
they went
there's
to so many places.
a huge difference between growing up in Brazil and growing up in England is that everything in Brazil is so far away.
Yeah.
James recently went to the beach a couple of weekends ago, and it took them 4.5 hours to
We go
get
to
there.
Birmingham. We crossed
Across the
Well, I
country.
wouldn't. Why would I want to go there? I'd turn around and go to France instead.
We could, yes.
we went to our neighbours, Lisa and Andy. Lisa is German.
German.
She's from a town in the north of Germany, Bielefeld. Beautiful Christmas market. Have you ever been to a German Christmas market?
Top of your list.
Magical.
It's worth.
But to get there, we travel through 5 countries in 8 hours.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And
This is something that happened to us even being in Brazil. We had a lot of people from all over because we have a lot of friends from outside of Brazil. So our kids have been exposed to these things.
Yeah.
So we had recently we had an Iranian teacher teaching for us. So she came with her husband and we became friends. So they cooked Iranian food for us,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
kids were always together. The Korean people
Saying
that we
happy
had
birthday and
saying happy birthday in
Yes.
Farsi.
in Farsi.
And the Korean people that we have, our friends, they also cook for them.
Yes.
We are always with these people. So maybe our kids are privileged because we have this.
I have just
community.
a curiosity, a joke. When we got married, our wedding party was people gave it a nickname that it was Festa das Nações. Yes, the nation party, because we had friends from all over, and it seemed like. Yes,
It's lovely.
So, what's on your list? Where are the places that you haven't been that you would like to take them?
Yes. We haven't been to the Middle East yet.
Okay.
And well, with the kids, they haven't been to a lot of places yet, but they went to Canada, Italy, and Norway. But we have been more. We have been to more places, and the place we would like to go now is the Middle East, because we have these friends in Iran, and we would like to know a little bit more of the culture, and places like Jordania, Jordan, yeah, and I think so. I think more like it. I'm not. And Europe, of course, we want to go back to Europe all the time, because we also have family there, and a lot of the culture and the food and the things that we can do in Europe is.
And maybe take the kids to places we have been, but they haven't been with us. Yes,
that's lovely, because when you've been there and you've got the knowledge, and then you can pass it on. One of the places that we went to with ours is Rome, and Rome was
one of our favorite places, isn't it? Because
Rome was. I love ancient Rome history. The things from Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, those first 5 Caesars, fascinating. I love it. And then, have you been?
Yes.
And have you been on top of the Palatine Hill?
Just across the
Colosseum.
We weren't.
Yes, we went there the first time.
Oh no, we went.
Not this time.
We didn't go exactly, but we went to admire. Yes, we went like on a viewpoint.
You can see it from the outside.
Yes, exactly.
Without actually going into those areas.
That we did.
But there are a lot of places in Rome, like to see the city, and my God,
isn't it? And when that feeling for me is when I was on top of the Palatine Hill and walking through the Augustan palaces and overlooking the place where all this stuff went down that you studied in the history book, but actually you're walking the steps of where these things. It's like, shut up, kids, take this in. Dad, I want a sword and I want to hit someone with a Roman sword. Go and do that over there. I'm just soaking this up.
I got a historian maniac here, but growing up, that's what when our kids were growing up, that's what we used to say. When they are learning this in school, we want to take them to see it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we had that opportunity. So I know what you're saying when you say the kids are privileged. Yes, and having had the chance. And now ours are 22 and 21 and 22, and like you're gonna see yours grow up to see, it's just to get the benefit from it, because
it's one of those things that we loved about England, because like I said, everything was close. But if you want history, we lived in Canterbury. We actually were living in 2,500 years of history, and you walked these streets, and it was just there. There was a house and a plaque on it, and it says the house was built in AD 1500, and I used to say to James and Julia, that's the same year some dude found Brazil.
Exactly.
And that house has been there. The same length.
Nowadays, I've been actually planning a trip around Brazil by car, around 10,000 kilometers. But I'll wait a little bit for the kids to grow a little bit, and also to learn more things. Because
do it in a rented car, put the miles on there.
Yes.
No, but we can't, because the car is gonna feel,
it's like leaving your dog at home.
Exactly.
There you go. It's just 10,000 kilometers. It's not so much.
No, not for a car.
Not for a car.
That's actually the distance from here back to the UK. You need a James Bond car, and then you can do it. I just wanted to pick up on one, because you said that you would like to visit the Middle East. Would you think about going to the Holy Lands or to somewhere like Egypt?
Yeah.
I really would like to go to the
I forgot about
Netherlands.
Israel,
I've been talking to Eduardo a lot about this. I'm a bit worried about going with the kids in sense that I want to,
Enjoying.
Yes,
that
I'm gonna be a
means
bit
go over there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a bit selfish
Go and
about
crucify
it,
a prophet. Meanwhile,
Exactly,
on the
yes.
Maybe if they're a little bit
I want
older.
to soak it in.
If they're older, then
Maybe, yes, when they're older. Today, we would probably go
Yeah.
alone if we.
It's
had
a
to,
great
yeah.
opportunity for them to enjoy the grandparents.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, the grandparents to enjoy them. Yeah, but I think I wanted to say also one of the things that I feel like the kids are different because we put things in context for them
Yes.
Yes.
with travel, which is really really nice, and more than once this has happened to us. We would be in a place in Italy, for example, and they were like, I saw this in my book.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw this in my history book, and so our oldest, she really wanted to see the Colosseum.
Yes.
So so why the Colosseum? Because she saw it in her book and she studied, and then when she got there, it was that impressive thing. Yeah.
That's one thing that we
Don't
actually...
get me started on the Colosseum.
nothing.
Oh my goodness.
But there was one thing that we actually encourage our children to do as they were growing up, and we still have all of the books to how do you call it, the guidebooks. So we buy that in anticipation to the holiday.
Those Dorling Kingsley ones.
Yes, and we
of the
also
things.
give it to them the opportunity to look for things that they would like and to study the place. And the most beautiful thing I saw was James a few months ago preparing to take Vivian, his girlfriend, to England.
Yeah.
And we did the same. We got her a book for Christmas as a present. And it was just lovely to see him doing that. And I thought, oh, we did well there.
Yeah.
Congratulating ourselves on our upbringing.
But
Really nice.
I get that thing what you're saying about maybe wait and when they grow up, because again, we were lucky. From us, Dover Castle, which is on the coast overlooking overlooking the channel, and you can see France from the other side. There is a scary picture there of Hitler on the coast of Calais looking at Dover Castle, which you can see in the distance. That's how close that
it's
he
really
actually
close.
got.
Yeah, but
Then the lovely thing about it was we took James and Julia from a right early age, but we kept going back every year, and every year they were able to get something from it. But like I say, it was 15 minutes down the road, not a £15,000 air flight, which is a bit difficult.
I was just gonna say that we don't need to go very far. I mean, like my kids, she said that she wanted to go to the museum in Rio because she saw it on her book.
Yes.
There's a museum in Rio that I want to go, Daddy. I was like, okay, let's do it, and we can do it. It's
And
easy.
it really
And
is.
that's
São Paulo.
amazing. Oh, in São Paulo. And also, our children now in Brazil are experiencing things that your children had the opportunity to do. But when James talks to some of his friends that are Brazilian, he says, some people have not gone as far as Morro do Fogão, somewhere in São Pedro, Água São Pedro, Serra Negra. So we did have that as well within English culture. There were a lot of children, especially the ones we
Yes.
taught, that had never left their village town, and I think that's more to do with the upbringing, like you guys that
probably.
enjoy it and you would do it. But you were saying about Brazil, and if you had to say just near us, where would be the place that you would say, okay, it's the weekend, pack your bags, that's where we're going to spend the day? Is there a favorite place for the kids to go, or for you guys to take them?
We like going to Águas de São Pedro.
Yes.
We
Yes.
like
We've
going
been
there
so many times, with them. It's like our backyard, we say.
that's-
Yeah, it's like our backyard. We've been so many times. We have been planning on a trip to
So
what's
many
the
places.
name of the The kids have really, they asked us to go because they saw it also in their
temple.
boat. The temple, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a name.
The
It's a
Buddhist
Buddhist
Chinese one. So
Yeah.
James knows that. Is it near
It's
Capacidade or something?
No, it's actually closer to São
São
Paulo
Paulo.
than to
That's it.
Amsterdam. Yeah, from here.
Zulai
Zulai
Temple.
Temple,
Yes.
And have you done Brotus with them?
We have, yes.
We have, yes.
Brought the some waterfalls, not all and all. There are a lot of waterfalls there.
Aren't they?
80 as we've learned.
You can quickly bankrupt yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
But São Pedro is just not necessarily waterfalls, but such a nice experience. And there is area and river, although we can't, well, we're going to close to the Piracicaba River. Steve likes always to be close to the water, and we have this opportunity. Of course, if you're not in Brazil and you're hearing this, you're probably thinking, why don't you go to the beach, guys? There's so many beautiful beaches in Brazil, but we're not that far. We are 4 or 5 hours away to the closest beach because we are inland.
Yes.
And actually very close to the center of São Paulo state.
Yeah. It's not so easy for us to reach.
No,
to reach the beach.
Capricornium tropics, isn't it the closest one?
Capricorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a favorite beach that we take them. We try to go every year, but it's in Florianopolis.
Okay.
Yes, so
It's
that's
just 800 kilometers.
Yeah, I've
from here.
never
yeah,
been.
that's
south.
14
Yeah.
hours by car,
No.
which they are really, they're okay
I've
with
seen
it. But
I've seen it on the TV. It does look amazing,
yes,
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. I'm sure.
but I gotta
English
say,
hats.
my English heart belongs to Rio de Janeiro.
Oh,
right.
I absolutely love it, and the airport just being 40 minutes down the road, and then a 50-minute flight
yeah.
for a 50 quid return flight to Rio.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
really good.
I get me wiggle on.
I went to Rio twice by motorcycle.
Oh wow!
You know.
That's a challenge.
Wow.
You see?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right, guys, we have been talking to Juliana and Eduardo, Option Language Solutions, and we've been focusing on well-being and travel, including traveling by themselves, as a couple, and with the family. Steve, is there anything else that
Yeah,
you'd
now we're
like
going to have a look at what they call here in Brazil intercambio.
Oh, yes.
It's funny that we don't actually have a word for this in English because we already speak English, and for us to go abroad and study language, it's a rare thing. Some people do, but it's a really big thing having these exchange students and going. And what's been interesting is all of us has had an experience as a student, experience as student leaders, and experience of receiving
Yes.
Yeah.
students and teaching them and taking. So what's that been like for you?
Actually, for me, I have had an experience as with my family. So as a child, I've lived abroad for 5 years when I was a child. So that's where my experience comes
Tell
from.
us about where was that? How was that? Why was that?
Why was that? Well, my father is a professor at the University of São Paulo. He's a professor at Exalc, and it was for his doctorate studies. So we stayed for almost 5 years in Auburn, Alabama, in the USA. So that's where all my English comes from, and of course after I studied everything in life and things, but basically, and my experience, I was brought up in a sense because I was young. I was brought up in a different culture with different things. So, but the group leaders, that's all on Eduardo. He's the responsible. I haven't had the opportunity to take groups. Yes, but only two little ones. Yeah, that's my group.
You're two groupies.
That's my group. Yes, but Eduardo can talk about the exchange
Is it an
programs.
exchange program a word? Does it sound good as an intercambio? Not really. It's not the same.
It's not quite the same.
All right.
There's opportunities to study abroad.
Yeah.
It's not quite quite the same thing. So,
Okay.
but you've been working with EF,
Yes,
isn't it?
so I've been working with EF as courses for English courses and Spanish courses. There are a lot of languages actually you can study. Even Korean they
Yes.
have like a lot of languages. But most of the people look for English courses abroad. So you can stay 2 weeks, you can stay 2 years, you can stay as much as you want. And I also work with another company called IFES, and they have high school abroad, which means that the student can stay 6 months or 1 year in a regular school. Like they go, and there's not only in the United States, you can go to other places. So that's my new thing. It's I would like to show to the students that they can go to other countries
Yeah.
as well to have this high school experience, which is very popular in Brazil. And they can go to Denmark, they can go to Finland, they can go to Norway, Italy, India, if they want Hong Kong, you know. And basically what you have to know before going to these places is English language. Yeah. And then you're going to learn the German or the other languages that they...
Do they have to have a certain level of the TOEFL or YELTS or some sort of Cambridge certificate
No,
to prove?
actually, no, they don't. For the high school or for the English courses, you can. Some countries they want you to be intermediate.
Okay.
But that's an easy way to get it. So not really, no.
And what sort of experience have these students been benefiting from it and been bringing back home with them?
Yeah, when I'm a leader and I take these young people with me, I learn a lot, and what I can see from the beginning to the end is that it's how they get more mature in a way, like even like we stay 1 month, and there are 16 to 30 students with me. It depends on the group, and I can feel how they progress, not only in the language but also like in the way they even talk to me, you know, or talk to the friends, and it's interesting to see how they stay together with all the cultures, because there are a lot of people from all over the world studying with them, and how they relate with them, and how the friendships and all it's really interesting to see.
Because this is a really lovely thing for people to know as well, is that you might be bringing a group from Brazil, but there's going to be 15 other groups from all over the world as well, and these kids will have a mixed experience of events, because the schools there will organise events for these kids to mix and mingle.
Yes,
I've always said that an experience abroad it can be life-changing, because even crossing the road is an experience,
Especially in England.
Exactly, but
Take
even
your
that
life
it's
in
just,
your hands.
it's just taking things for granted. We have that first feel that it's 6 o'clock and it's not dark. No, in some places it won't get dark for a long time, or the weather, or being hot or being cold. So when you're really allowed to be part of this culture and to eat and like you do with your children and live that same lifestyle
And live inside the houses of the people.
it is lovely. It is really, so I can only imagine how lovely it is to take a big group or to take a group
It
of,
is
of
really
students.
hard. It's
Yes,
really
it's
tiring,
definitely tiring,
but
yeah.
it's really rewarding in the end. You know,
Yeah,
like,
it is
seriously,
it is
I-
the responsibility.
I used to work with the leaders, and honestly, we would meet up 7 o'clock in the morning, and we wouldn't be going to bed until midnight, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning,
And then getting
7
up
days a
again.
week,
Every
and
single
every
Starting
day.
again. Yeah.
Sometimes it was by choice, send them back off when we're down the beach. But so, which countries and cities have you been to?
Well, before saying that, I'm going to say that I myself was a student. When I was 16 years old, I went to Bournemouth to study English
Oh, fantastic!
by myself,
Yeah.
and it was really good. And I remember me having this changing my way of talking to people when I came back. People came to me say like, "Oh, you're different," you know, like, "Oh my God, so cool."
You had a proper accent, a British.
It's British accent at that time, maybe. I with the group I went to Canada, I went to Vancouver, and I went to Bournemouth twice, and to Cambridge as well.
You did
And to South
recently,
Africa.
but recently you went to
Last year I went to Cambridge.
Cambridge. Oh, it was Cambridge.
It
I
was
thought.
Cambridge.
Oh, I thought it
Yeah.
was.
I also went to Cape Town in South Africa. It was a really nice experience as well. Different from being in Vancouver or in England,
Yes.
but yeah,
I would imagine it's more like going to Rio. As
it's
in,
more like it.
Yeah,
Yes.
enjoy, but let's enjoy this part.
Yes, exactly. In a way, you have to know where to go. And Toronto, I've been to Toronto.
But also, these experiences, you get to take students to other countries as well. Sometimes, you know.
Yeah, when we were in Cambridge, we went to
Go to
France and
Italy,
Italy.
yeah.
Yes,
Now there is something with Germany as well. So yeah, it's
Which is a really useful thing when you have non-European students.
Yeah.
When you're trying, I've tried to do it with European students. They're like, what? We do that anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
work.
do that the weekend with my family.
Yeah.
We wanna go.
So, you said you went to England when you're 16, and I'm using went because you're no longer 16, so that time in your life
Really?
is gone. But what has been the differences that you've noticed going continuously back and forth to England last year between you were 16 and the last time you went?
No, I think I don't know if there are a lot of differences from. I'm talking about 1996, the first time I went. You know,
Yes.
and no, it doesn't. I don't think it changed a lot. I mean, maybe after the pandemic it was a little bit more disorganized. I would say. You know, not the school, but I mean like everything that people that I worked with and all the tours that we had. We went to France, and the tours were a little bit. But no, I don't think there are a lot of differences between 1996 until. No, I don't think so. Do you? Do you think so?
Well,
Oh yes, yeah.
we would
I
see the
noticed a lot of
difference from
differences.
within the culture. It's more from the inside out, and probably
Maybe.
for a tourist, you wouldn't notice that much
Yeah.
difference in the sense that, you know, buses were running and people were still going to the supermarket.
Yeah, working with the people there, I worked some years, and I think it was okay. It was not different. No, maybe in 1996 I didn't have that. I was 16, you know.
Yeah,
I was like
very
everything's
young.
amazing.
everything was great.
And the first time you were away as well, so everything
Yeah,
is different.
yeah.
And honestly, leaving Brazil to go to England, everything is different.
So if there's
The
people
first
here
time,
watching
yeah.
now and they're thinking, oh wow, in Piracicaba there are these guys who do the intercambio, and I'd like to get some of this. What can they do? How would they get in contact with you and ask these questions?
Oh, they can always WhatsApp us. Can I say the number?
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
want to do it in Portuguese for people to actually get the number, that's fine.
Ok. Vocês podem contactar no 19 99748 3639 e também no Instagram da Option Language Solutions. Pode mandar uma mensagem direto para a gente lá, para qualquer informação sobre intercâmbio.
Your
in
Portuguese is great. I didn't understand.
So in a nutshell, what has been over this whole experience of 20 years of running Option, what has been the best, what has been the pinnacle, and what would you say has helped you in your own well-being, and you've gone, you know what, I'm more authentic today than I was 20 years ago?
I think for me, the highlight was actually this year, turning 20. Because, you know, we were really excited. We were able to, in retrospect, you know, see everything that we've been through and how it grew, and being able to extend and having the construction, extend the school, more people, more students, more. It was just a feeling of accomplishment, you
Cool.
know. Yeah, so I think for me, like the number, you know, like 20 years was my
Yeah,
my
maybe
highlight.
it made us stop and think about what we have
Exactly,
been
yes.
doing.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's what happened to us, and seeing like and being with our teachers and seeing that everybody's is well and happy, and
Yeah.
I think this is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
Well, guys, as I say to companies often, and I speak to the owners, and I say, you've gave birth to a little monster. This is going to carry on. So I hope to hear about options for another, 100 years to come and whatever it is. But it's
Oh my
lovely to
goodness,
see
you're
that.
going to be a zombie.
No, in fact, I've learned some new stuff that we every year that goes by we can get aging a bit more. So our children will be here much.
Artificial
anyway,
intelligence.
Artificial
farming.
intelligence.
There you go.
But what
Anyway,
is it? Good luck. Yes, and
Thank you.
very much.
This has
very
been wonderful. Thank you very much, Juliana. Thank you very much, Eduardo, for coming in and joining us. And thank you very much to the Canal de Piracicaba for the opportunity. And thank you also for joining us and watching as well. Remember to click the like and subscribe buttons. Also leave your comments. And if you as well would like to come and join in as well with your experiences in English, just let us know in the comments below.
thank you very much, guys, and thank you, Steve. And let's carry on with well-being in action. See you next week.